Hi, I'm Nikolai LaQualia. I'm Master Gardener in the UC Extension in Sacramento County. I'm co-coordinating the compost research and workshop area here at the Fair Oaks Horticulture Center. And as you look down here, you'll see that there's 10 domestic style bins that are being compared with one another. We're trying to find out the benefits, features, and downside of each one of the home style bins so that we can give some idea to the homeowner which of these might be the best one for them to choose. And we'll publish the results at the end of that and do some other research after that. If we start over here, Mike, we have the Garden Gourmet. Garden Gourmet. Mm-hmm. This is the first one in our line of 10. One of the advantages of it is that it comes apart and is easy to assemble. That also works out to be one of the disadvantages. We typically find that when we want to turn the compost bin, we want to remove the bin and put the pile in it. We just move the bin over one slot and put the pile back into it by just turning it that way and adding water as we're going. And this one many times wants to come apart into pieces. It also has a really neat advantage that you can open this bin door down here and take compost out the bottom when it's ready. The next one here is called the Home Composter. It's not available right now. It's not being manufactured, just recently. It has a very nice lid that does help to keep some of the moisture content higher. It's very rigid. When you use your fork and you're going to be making a compost pile, you many times have to use the edge of the compost bin to hold the fork. It's kind of a fulcrum in the process, and you need that sometimes. And this is a good sturdy one, so it works well. This next one here is perhaps the simplest one and is the most elegant in some ways. I have 3 of these myself, and I use them, and I really like them. You can simply just grab it and slide it right off of the pile, set it next to it, and put the pile right back in. This one is the Vestbro model. We found it to work pretty well. It's very similar to these models here. It has enough tensile strength on the edge to be able to use as a fulcrum. It has enough holes to allow the oxygen and air to come in. The one disadvantage I have found so far on this is that really every time you try and move it, it does come apart. So you have to re-slide all the pieces back together just to reform it. But it really, so far it's worked pretty well. The compost looks good in this. The next one here is a dual bin. It's called the Earth Engine, and I think that the point of view that the manufacturer had was that you could turn one bin into the other without any movement or disassembling at all. You can put these slats in as high as you need them, and you can take them out to turn the load. This is called the Compost Tumbler. This is the double model. There is a single model. It has, as you can see here, panels that remove. There's a wall between the two. The manufacturer suggests that that's so that you can have it going, one that's already going, and then begin another one as you're working along, and so you can have them at different states of decomposition. And then once it's everything has been added into it, you close it up and tumble it by a handle over here on the side. You can hear it tumbling in there. I think when they designed the tumblers, what they were looking for is trying to take some of the work of tumbling and turning the compost. Take that burden off of us, and it works pretty good. The one thing I have found with this particular one is that it tends, when the material is new and not decomposed, it tends to roll it in a big ball. So we've had to get in there with a pitchfork and actually separate it, re-wet it, and then it worked pretty well. The other disadvantage is raising the material up so high into it. I think there's a give and a take on this particular one, but it works pretty good so far. My co-coordinator, Lori Murphy, this is her favorite of all the tumbler ones. And there's one real advantage to it. It's really easy to get the material in and out, so if you want to tumble it and put it back in, you can open one of these ends and then just pour it right out. It also has an axle through the center. It tends to take the material as it's falling and separate it, so it's actually kind of churning it in. So we've found that that is an advantage on this particular one, and the compost in it looks really good. So this is kind of a favorite on the tumbler side of the compost bins. As you can see, very easy to tumble. It's called the Tumbleweed. And so that's that one. It's got air vents on the ends, and it allows excess moisture to drip out if you've got too much moisture in it. This is called the EnviroCycle. You take it and tumble it right on its stand. It has two vents at the bottom to allow excess moisture to fall out. And it looks like I didn't have the lid on quite well enough, so that could be a disadvantage of this particular one. You have to make sure it's shut well enough. But it seems to be doing a good job. The next one here came in at the last minute. We found that this one doesn't give enough oxygen or air, so initially we were getting some anaerobic situations going on. Anaerobic microbes will kill the beneficial microbes that are doing the work for us in the composting. So at first we had some trouble with it. We did discover that if we shut this, opened this and turned it over, we could actually drain out the extra moisture, and so that kind of took care of that problem. And the last one down here, it's really set up as 3 chambers. The upper chamber here, which has a shelf that you can pull out and drop below, is the upper chamber, and you're doing your main decomposition up here, pulling this out, dropping it down, then you start it again up here, this one being down below in the second section. And when it gets to the third section, you can take off the door and you can pull out of here and just use the compost that you've already formed. Meanwhile, you have the first initial one going on up here and being formed. So that's a great advantage of that particular one.